especially when it comes to prevention and treatment. That's why we're proud to introduce the brand new KBLA Health and Wellness Hub. This online space is built just for you, connecting our community to trusted health resources, culturally relevant care, and even access to diverse clinical trials and emerging therapies. Whether you're looking for information on common conditions, mental health support, or just want to stay on top of your wellness journey, we got you. And the best part, it's all on our website at KBLA1580.com. Accessible, empowering, community-focused. So just go to KBLA1580.com and click on the Health and Wellness Hub icon, because knowledge is power and your health is everything. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
My people! The foundation of the United States rests on the sweat of my people. Every enemy of the USA has had to face my people on the front
line. People, my people are dying, and we see it all the time. Don't know where our future would be if he's not here. How do we stay strong? Only we can save us from us. Think about change. Show our people love. Oh yeah. My people, hold your head up. Don't take it back. My people rise, my people rise. My people, we want you side by side. Doing all right. My people cry, my people ride. People.
KBLA Talk 1580. I forgot about that song, Miles. I love that song. Yes, indeed. I love so many songs. I could just do a whole music show, but we're not doing that because we have a lot to talk about. I broke down and turned on the fan. Does it sound too loud? It's so hot. It's hot everywhere. Anyway, if I'm hot, you know it's hot because I like it toasty in here. I like it real toasty. So if I'm hot, it's hot. Okay, so excited to invite in a guest that I haven't had an opportunity to talk with before. Me and Asha just finding lots of great new people to talk with and talk to you about what's going on in the world. And we're going to need all of these voices right now. So I'm excited to introduce you to her. She's an elected member of the Board of Education in the city of Orange in New Jersey, a licensed clinical social worker, and the owner of something called the Inner City Cafe. If that sounds like it doesn't go together, just keep it right here. You'll understand how it all ties together in just a moment. She is providing outpatient counseling to youth, to families, to couples and individuals, and particularly specializing in dealing with folks who have experienced trauma, loss, addiction, depression, and anxiety. She uses a holistic cognitive behavioral approach and really specializes in helping families resolve issues and conflicts using a family systems approach and looking at families as a unit. So much to unpack there, but it's important stuff. Dr. Fatimah Turner, welcome.
Thank you. Hi, how are you?
Good. Good morning and welcome to you. So I want to start with the sort of simple stuff before we look at what's happening on the national landscape, because a lot of the conversations that I've been having with other mental health services providers, counselors, and community activists in that space are talking about family systems without talking about it directly, meaning you come out and say, this is the system that I use. And people in some of the nonprofits are discovering, well, if I just help the kids and I don't help the parents, it doesn't fix the problem. Or if I just help the parents and I don't incorporate the young people, it doesn't solve anything, because we're going back and, we're taking a bath and going back into a dirty house or a dirty pool. And so explain what that even means, family systems.
Well, family systems is definitely looking at the system. Like if we were looking at a machine and one part of the machine is broken, you can fix if the machine isn't running smoothly, and we focus on one portion of the machine, but not the whole machine, and it's still not going to work properly. So we want to look at the whole system. We want to see where we can help the whole system in order for it to function properly. I think one of the issues is, like you just stated, that when we come up with an issue, we look at the person instead of the unit. And so I can take a kid and I can give them resources and I can give them counseling, but if they're going back into a broken system, we're just going to be, I guess, making the putting in resources that are not going to work. We're not going to get anywhere.
I feel like it's almost as if, and in that sense, we expect the child to fight this entire system, whether it's a foster home or a traumatic family scenario, by themselves. Here, we gave you a tool, right. 7-year-old, go out and fix it yourself.
Right. And the other thing is we have to change the way we look at a system. And so many times we are looking at systems as the immediate unit. So mother, father, sister, brother. But in traditional, households, especially households of color, that system could be mother, father, sister, aunt, grandmother. It could be the neighbor. It's the school. It's the church. It's the community. So we have to look at the entire system. And we have to stop looking at the way that traditional Western families view families, right? So I may be, historically we were raised by the village. We were raised by other mothers. And so my mother might not be in my direct system. It might be my neighbor, or it might be my aunt, or it might be my teacher, And so that's why we have to start to look at systems differently.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, especially in today's environment where there's so much conversation about the so-called demise of the black family, and particularly on social media, this conversation is raging as if we will fail to be mentally stable. We can fail to thrive if we don't go into a traditional nuclear family structure and put that genie back in the bottle. And it sounds like you're saying, and maybe I'm wrong, that by acknowledging a wider family system, we can still find ways to thrive without having to have one particular model.
We have to. We have to in order to survive. I mean, historically, again, we had the village. If the mother wasn't in the home, then someone else stepped up to provide for that family. And so everyone has a role. And the problem comes when you're not when the people within that village or within that, I call it the circle of service, when the people in that circle of service are not willing to bend, if the role needs to change, if you need to pick up another responsibility. And so if we're going to survive, we do have to start to look at the family like we did before. This isn't something new. Again, I talk about other mothering, where people took on roles that weren't traditionally their roles in order to make sure the family got what it needed. We talk about parentification. And so what happens is that when we compare, when we start to compare things that we did historically with a lot of these new theories, we start to put names on these things and we start to look at them from a negative perspective. So if we talk about parentification, many people frown on that. And where we don't want, and parentification is with our children, is when siblings end up taking on the role of a parent. And do we want siblings and children to take on roles of parents? Absolutely not, but we're still a team. And so historically, that's what we did. Big sisters, may have had to step in when mom or dad was at work, and now if dad or mom are not in the home. And so I think that we have to be careful when we put these negative connotations on these terms, because people tend to shy away from them. And so when we talk about the destruction of the family, that's really what's causing it. We're trying to make a individualistic family system when we're not. That's not what we are. That's not how we were. That's not how we were brought up from historically to greatness.
I'm smiling because when I said traditional, I hesitated to use that word because traditional for who, right? That
right.
That family model of mom, dad, brother, sister, and I'm not against it if that's what you got going. More power to you, but the idea that if we don't meet that metric, we're failures and our children are doomed is problematic. When I said traditional, I was even telling myself, but that's not necessarily our tradition. It's the tradition of many or the tradition that's put forth as the norm in our society.
Right. I mean, I grew up in a family where I was raised by many different members, and I would not be Dr. Fatimah Turner. I would not have been able to fight the elements if my community, if my family hadn't stepped up and assisted in raising me. Yeah.
I mean, if most of us are being honest, we would say something similar, I think.
Yeah.
And I was the ultimate parentified kid, so I know what it is. I know what it is. It's not a mystery.
Same here. Yeah.
But I think it's important to restate it because we're getting so much propaganda right now on the internet. For some reason I went down a rabbit hole the other day watching Kevin Samuels and this idea that of high value women, men. I mean, and which means other men are low value, and that somehow you're a failure if your family structure doesn't look like this. Is destructive in some ways. Yeah,
I agree. And when you said that, it just reminded me of the first day I sat in my PhD class. There's four white women, and then there's 2 black women. And the first thing they said to us was that if you were not married before you finish your program as a black woman, you are less likely to get married. If you get married, you're going to end up marrying down or outside of your race. And so then my question is, well, what is marrying down?
Right.
How are we measuring that? And so and then what does that say for me as a unmarried black woman, a divorced black woman? Now, so these are the things that are circulating that are really putting us at an unfair advantage.
Jerry says in the chat, I find myself wishing there was as much effort to put the black family back together as to rationalize non-traditional. I'm not rationalizing non-traditional. And what the question was, traditional for whom? Traditional for us might not be the same as traditional for Buffy. So I'm just saying traditional for whom. That's not a rationalization. It's just, it's a challenge to us to have a more historical, long view when we judge ourselves and the way our family structures are in this moment. Okay, that wasn't even the whole thing. That was my first question. We got a lot more to talk about. Dr. Fatimah Turner is my guest, and you're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicolai Corte. Let's preserve black land stories before they're lost forever. I want to personally invite you to be a part of something historic. As journalist in residence for the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, I've joined forces with powerhouse attorney and social justice champion George Fothery, the man who helped make history by delivering justice to the Bruce family in Manhattan Beach, securing the first known return of land unjustly taken from black black owners by a local government. That victory was monumental, but it was just the beginning. For generations, black families have acquired land through grit, faith, and determination, only to lose it through violence, legal loopholes, forced sales, and systematic racism. What's been taken goes far beyond dirt and deeds. It's the erasure of wealth, identity, and legacy. That's why we've launched the Black Land Loss Narrative Archive Project, a national effort to collect, protect, and preserve the stories of black land loss before they're buried, forgotten, or erased altogether. Because there's power in telling black stories, there is resistance in remembering, and there's justice in being seen and heard. This is where you come in. We're inviting you to be a part of this historic Black Narrative Archive. If you or someone you know has experienced land loss, displacement, or forced property sales, your story deserves to be heard and remembered. Your story belongs in this archive. Your truth matters not just to your family, but to our collective future. Visit blacklandloss.org today. Fill out our simple intake form and add your voice to the National Archive of Remembrance, Resilience, and Reckoning. Let's make these stories live on, not in whispers, but on the record. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicolai Corte, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my two sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-687-7979. That's 800-687-7979. 800-687-7979.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thank you for waking up with me, but you're also waking up with Dr. Fatimah Turner. And, you know, I've got so many questions because we've never had a chance to speak before. And we're in a time right now when I feel, particularly for black people, but anyone, particularly vulnerable folks, it's a traumatic time. It's a time of mental health strain and the shrinking of the safety net. The social services, the research, the resources are being slashed for people. So I want us to be aware of what's happening, understanding how to push back, but also starting with this sort of basic toolkit for helping ourselves. That's one of the reasons I asked you about what you said about family services. But I also want to ask you about, before we go into what's happening on the national scene, about your founding of this cafe and how it's part of your work in helping people help themselves.
So I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. My grandmother used to take me on Saturdays because my mom was 16 when she had me. So my grandmother naturally came in and stepped in to try to help my parents because, again, they were young. And so on Saturdays, my grandmother would always take me to a cafe in Newark after she went to school, after I did my little classes. And I just remember going in there, and I remember it was black owned, and I just remember the community kind of getting together to talk and to hash out whatever issues. And what I realized is that we didn't have anything like this here. And so, yes, I ran my nonprofit, but yes, I ran my private practice, but that was being reactive. And so I wanted to kind of do something that was proactive. And what better way to get people together? Feed them, play some music. So I opened up this inner city cafe. It's right in the center of my town, Orange, New Jersey. It's very cute. It's pink. It's chic. It has flowers outside. There's always music playing. There's always a vibe. And so when you come in, it's almost like I don't know if you ever watched A Different World. It's almost like the pit.
Mm-hmm.
So people now in the community, where are you going this morning? Oh, I'm going to the cafe. Oh, I'm going to the cafe. And so on any given time, you're going to find the mayor in there. Like you're going to find the council people in there. You might find our superintendent. You might find the senator in here. Like, so people come here and they get their needs met. So I'm here and I'm providing resources. So if you need help with resume writing, if you need help with, you may not have a computer to log on and do your homework or to do an interview. We have spare computers here. You may need something notarized. You can come here and get it. You may not have any money. You can come here and get lunch. People sometimes come in here and pay. Just this morning, a guy came in here, one of our major developers in here, the Motley family. They came in here. He left $100 on the table. So if someone else comes in and doesn't have any money, their lunch is paid for. So it's a community hub where you can come in and get the resources. We have karaoke, but we also have group therapy. So we do group therapy for whatever issues are. We have town halls. And so what I've done is I kind of took the research. Once I was getting my PhD, I took that research and I combined it with my education, being a licensed clinical therapist, and my passion for social justice, and I brought it right here. And so I've been able to do this sort of like mission-driven entrepreneurship where I'm satisfying all of my needs right here inside of Inner City Cafe.
I love the way you put that. Mission-driven entrepreneurship is really like a socially innovative model, but the intention was create community resources more than just create profits.
Well, if I was here for just profit, I wouldn't be here. So yes. Yeah, because running a business, because who told me to open up a cafe and a restaurant? It's very hard. And so when I come in here every day, it's definitely, I would love to make some money, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here because someone saw me, someone looked at me when I was a child and they said, you know what, I see something in her and I want to help move her forward. And so it's my responsibility to pay it forward. I talked about that circle of service and that pot of reciprocity, right? And so we can't just take out the pot. Someone has to keep putting in the pot. And so this is me putting in the pot. This is me giving back. This is me doing ancestry work. This is me paying homage to my ancestors and doing the job that needs to be done. Like I said, everyone has a role, and this is the role that I'm playing. And I think someone said something about pulling Black families together, and this is my role. This is what I'm doing in order to preserve us as a community and us as family.
Yeah, it's interesting because we spend a lot of our community time online now, if you want to call it community time. But why we're broadcasting from Leimert Park in Los Angeles, also known as Africatown, which is very much of a gathering hub. People come in the park. There's a festival here every weekend practically. But it seems there's a lot of lack as far as those kind of town square community spaces, shared spaces. Why is that important?
It's very important because it starts here, right? And so it starts in your community. It starts in your local government. And then once you start to get involved in local government, then it could start to extend. We try to educate people on the importance of voting local, because these are where lots of your programs are going to take place. And it's important because, again, I talk about that village. You may not be able to get the resources outside of your community because of all the cuts we have. But you can come right here, and you may never know, you may be having lunch next to somebody that can help you. Again, when we start to cut programming on a national level, we have to look at these developers and these business owners who are making money off of these communities. And what we do here is we challenge them to support. We challenge them to give back. And so this is why places like this is important, because I invite the millionaires and the billionaires to come in here so that they can see what's happening in the communities that they're making money in. And they're going to help, and they're going to contribute, and they're going to help support us.
Mm. Yeah, I think it's also when we saw during COVID that people don't do so well when they're isolated, that human connection, and the sense of people doing stuff to make others better. It is helpful for mental health purposes.
It's helpful. And sometimes in order to get people to do stuff, it's unfortunate, but they have to see where it's going to help them. And that's what I do when I talk about this level of reciprocity. And so, again, it's unfortunate, but when we show people how, by reaching in the bottom and helping to preserve these neighborhoods, how is this going to benefit you? That's how we start to get things going. That's how we keep this, again, level of direct and indirect reciprocity going, so that, again, we can keep these services and keep that human connection and keep our community to thriving.
Yeah.
Especially in the world of, gentrification. We're all getting together. We're all, in this, melting pot, and we all have to figure out a way to help each other and build off of each other.
Yeah. Dr. Fatimah Turner, you're reminding me a little bit of Dr. Mabel John right now, and we were talking about it earlier today, because she talked about the Great Depression and before a lot of these safety net programs were developed, how we are the safety net at some point. And you spoke on the cuts in services. We'll look at that, how we as communities best face these times and more when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Thousands protested in downtown Chicago Saturday against President Trump's threat to deploy federal troops.
Every single immigrant has every single right to have their families stay together.
Trump renamed the Pentagon the Department of War and posted Chicago is about to find out why on social media. Local leaders called the move dangerous. Former President Barack Obama won his third Emmy, earning Outstanding Narrator for Netflix's Our Oceans. His narration of the Indian Ocean episode beat out stars like Tom Hanks and Idris Elba at the 2025 Creative Arts Emmys. And NFL Hall of Famer Randy Moss returned to ESPN's Sunday NFL Countdown after completing cancer treatment. Moss celebrated with colleagues, saying, quote, "I rang the bell, now I'm back with the family." Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers were 3 outs away from a combined no-hitter Monday night against Colorado. They didn't get the no-hitter, but they won the game 3-1. Reliever Tanner Scott gave up a leadoff double in the ninth to ruin what would have been the 25th no-hitter in the Dodgers franchise history. Tyler Glasnow held Colorado hitless in the first 7 innings. Things are not looking good for the UCLA football program and head coach Deshaun Foster. UCLA is 0-2 after losing to Utah and UNLV by a combined score of 73-33. The Bruins trailed Utah 20-0 before losing 43-10. They were down 23-0 at UNLV before losing 30-23. Foster needs to do something about the Bruins' slow starts. These are the kind of mental notes an athletic director or a school president make when evaluating coaches. UCLA is at home Friday night against New Mexico. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is Secret Clinical dominating extra stinky stress sweat. And this is regular deodorant. Secret Clinical in a heat wave.
Oh, what a beautiful day.
This is regular deodorant.
Ugh, I can't.
Secret Clinical with workout sweat. Let's run another marathon. And regular deodorant.
How much more?
Secret is the GOAT. Because nothing fights sweat better.
Stay fresher under pressure.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
eBay has reinvented vehicle buying. From click to curb, everything's covered. Ever try to buy a car online and end up in a parking lot with a stranger and some blind trust? That era is over. Now with Secure Purchase, eBay isn't just where you find your car. It's where you buy it, start to finish. Title, financing, registration, delivery, it's all built in. This is the modern way to buy your next ride on eBay. eBay. Things people love. Secure Purchase is powered by Caramel Dealer Services, LLC, an eBay subsidiary.
Let's go!
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and help strengthen your immune response. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Schedule in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my site softer?
Can I make my site firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. It's the Sleep Number biggest sale of the year. All beds on sale up to 50% off the limited edition smart bed. Plus free premium delivery with any smart bed and adjustable base. Ends Labor Day. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. Check it out at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com today.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where everybody is somebody and nobody is a stranger. You belong here.
Dr. Fatimah Turner is my guest. She's a licensed clinical social worker, also the owner of the Inner City Cafe, and obviously, you can tell, a community activist. She's supporting her clients also through experiences of trauma, loss, addiction, depression, and anxiety, building resiliency using a holistic cognitive behavioral approach. You are doing a lot of different things, among them being on the Board of Education. How do you see, Dr. Turner, the dismantling of the Department of Education on the federal level impacting local, local governance such as yours?
I think that it's unfortunate how we are losing sight of what's important in the education system. I think that we have to, once again, focus on the bottom up, in order to save ourselves from what's happening in national government and to save ourselves in what's happening nationally with the dismantling of the Department of Education. because many of us are starting to feel helpless. But we can't be helpless. We can't lose sight of our goals, and we have to start to look at now private organizations, like I said, to help us. We have to, and that's what we've been doing in our district. So we've been looking into private organizations. We go to the hospitals, the people who, build and have businesses within our communities. We're looking for them, and we're partnering with them to help us. Hey, you help us, we help you. You help us, give us some grant money, give us some partnerships. In turn, we're raising and educating students that can then go into your workforce, that you can then hire. And so, again, my solution to that is to start at the bottom, is to reach into the networks within your community, to reach into local government, our mayors and our senators and the people, our council people who we vote for them to reach into the people that they know in their networks, because we're voting for these people and we're their community. And so that's what we've been doing in Orange, and that's how we've been able to sustain.
Yeah. It's such a great model. Pretty Brown Mimi 726 in our YouTube comment says, I think we need cafes similar to Dr. Turner's all over. Does she have any tips on how to start cafes like hers? And State Senator Nixon's in Jacksonville. I'm not familiar with that. What would you say to folks who want to take on that huge enterprise?
I would say, you know what? Don't do my motto, because I jumped in. I just jumped in. I didn't have any money. I knew that I wanted to do something, and so I just did it. For me, I always say that everything is just a plan or idea until you do it. And for me, failure is never an option. So once I do something, then I have no choice to do it.
Right.
And so I just did it. And so what I would say, my advice is to make sure your heart's in it, because, trust me, it's a hard job. You are taking on every role, and your goal is to now get everybody is making the sacrifice. My children, everyone. So I would say to make sure that you have, your funds in order, because staffing is hard. I mean, there's days that I'm the cook and the barista, the busser, and the toilet cleaner.
Oof.
Yeah, and so make sure that you are, financially ready to do it. And for a mission-driven business, I also have a table talk book coming out called Concrete Dreams, and it's talking about my journey through entrepreneurship. Make sure your community is involved, because, again, this morning, I had my mayor was actually, Mayor Dwayne Warren was back there washing dishes because he saw that I was a little swamped and I was behind. So make sure you have your community involved and make sure you're researching what your community needs. Your community may not exactly need what I'm offering. So do some research. Research what it is that your community needs. And especially for Inner City Cafe, I sort of run my cafe based on, I would say, like the Ken Scripps motto. So I think that motto can work within our families and our communities. Looking at what are your family expectations? What are your community expectations? What assignments are laid out for your family or for your community? And then we may have to adjust. We may have to reframe. We may have to, rewrite. But these are the things that we need to focus on in order to, again, move any sort of mission-driven business forward.
Yeah, that's great advice. Lots of great advice. And I think that as we see more and more of these cuts take hold and dawn on folks where we are in our communities with no Department of Education or a decimated one, and fewer and fewer social services, the cuts to SNAP have already kicked in, and we're barely at the beginning of this cycle, that more and more people are going to, I hope, step up and do something, whether it's a cafe or some kind of community mutual aid model.
Yes, exactly. Love that mutual aid. Absolutely. It has to. Without it, we're going to suffer. We're going to suffocate, and we're not going to survive. And I would definitely say,
No,
sorry.
go ahead. No, go ahead, please.
I was going to say Inner City Cafe thrives on that model, mutual aid, that direct and indirect reciprocity. We do, every year we do this Winter Wonderland where we collect money from our partners, or I wouldn't say collect, we get donations from the partners, and then we put on this big program in the street. I block the street off. We bring a mobile ice skating rink. We bring slides and free hot chocolate and Build-A-Bear, and it's all free to the community, and the community loves it because many of the kids in this community, they've never been to Build-A-Bear. They've never put on ice skates before, and so opening the door, and like I said, and Ken Scripps is reframing sort of these roles and expectations. Or when we look at children in the inner city, we expect them to not be privy to things like that. And so that's what I'm doing, exposing our children and our community to arts and culture. And again, that's how we build healthy citizens. That's how we build a healthy community. And to me, that's, again, a way to start to build healthy Black families, where we can look at maybe now we are being, instead of being reactive, now we're being proactive, and now we are raising students to be productive members of society, to get married, to know how to have the tools to stay married, and then to, again, reach back into the community.
I guess one of the less harmful stereotypes of Black people is that we're resilient and strong. The strong Black woman, the resilient Black community. I say less harmful, but I didn't say not harmful.
Right. Yeah. Well, we're resilient because we have to be. Black women are resilient because we've been put in a predicament to have to be strong. And so people always say, oh, you're so strong, you're so strong. Yes, I'm strong because I have no choice to be, but I would love to be soft. I would love to not have to be strong all the time. And I always tell my clients and the people who I mentor that being strong means not being afraid to ask for help. Being strong means not being afraid to cry, because anybody will tell you I am a crybaby. Now I'm going to cry, but I'm going to be working and fighting and climbing and kicking and screaming while I cry. But it's definitely no harm in crying. We talk about Black girl magic, and the issue with this Black girl magic is that people think that Black women are sprinkled with this magic fairy dust where things don't hurt us. And no, that's not what Black girl magic is. Black girl magic is that resilience. Black girl magic is the fact that we're not sprinkled with this magic fairy dust and things do hurt us. But we keep going and we keep climbing and we're resilient. That's where that magic happens. That's that Black girl magic.
Yeah. I'm bringing it up because we're in a moment when we do feel like we need to be resilient and strong and all these other things, but at the same time, I've got one eye on health outcomes, stress and trauma, and I know that the only way for us to get that under control is for us to do it, because nobody's coming to save us.
No one's coming to save us. Yes, no one's coming to save us. We have to save ourselves. I always say that people, I always call myself, my nickname for myself is Timarella. Like I like to call myself a princess. But no one's coming to save me. There's no prince. I would love a Prince Charming, but I have to be the heroine of my own story. No one's going to save me. We have to save ourselves. And Black women have always sort of been the saviors of the community. We're the other mothers. It's up to us to mother and nurture our community so that we can implement things that will help the Black family to stay together too. And a part of that being a strong Black woman is not being afraid to support and lean on our Black males, our Black men, and not tearing them down. Going back to what I said in the beginning, when I was told that if I was to get married, I would have to marry down or marry outside of my race. And so to me, that was very negative because so if a Black man doesn't have a PhD, Does that mean I'm marrying down? No, that absolutely does not mean that for me, but that's the narrative that we're putting out in our community. That's the narrative that we're putting out to black men. And that's what's tearing us apart. That's where that disconnect is coming. How are we measuring, levels? How are we measuring high quality men? How are we measuring high quality women?
Yeah. I mean, I think that I've been pondering that a lot. What is a high value man? What is it? We don't talk about high value women, but does that mean everyone else is low value? What are we doing right now? What even is that? We're talking with Dr. Fatimah Turner, and we'll continue the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
Hi, I'm LA City Councilmember Curran Price, inviting you to the 30th anniversary of the Central Avenue Jazz Festival, Saturday, September the 20th, from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. We've got 4 pavilions, 3 stages of live music, plus food, fun, and a marketplace all along historic Central Avenue between MLK Boulevard and Vernon Ave. Our featured acts this year are Gregory Porter, Pancho Sanchez, and Jasmine Horn at the 30th anniversary of the Central Avenue Jazz Festival, Saturday, September 20th, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. along Central Avenue between MLK Boulevard and Vernon Avenue. Come out and bring the whole family because this legendary celebration is free. For more information, go to centralavjazzfest.com. I'm LA Councilmember Curran Price, and I absolutely approve this message.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up.
Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your Senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
The following is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, please visit fvgradio.com. If you want a 100% complimentary stay at a luxury resort in Cancun, airfare not included, then Family Vacation Getaways is your ticket to paradise. See website for complete details. We're giving away 5 days and 4 nights to the first 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it? Call now, 800-868-6431, 800-868-6431. You're also eligible for an exciting bonus vacation to Orlando, Florida for just $498. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your travel up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation to Orlando for just $498. What are you waiting for? Call 800-868-6431, 800-868-6431, and give us your answer. The proceeding is not a contest and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways and not sponsored by this program or its affiliates.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Dr. Fatimah Turner is my guest. She's an activist, the owner of the Inner City Cafe, and also a licensed clinical psychologist. Dr. Turner, I always say lately that we have to make a pledge of courage every day during this administration, during these times, that being without fear or rejecting the epidemic of fear is the way forward. How do you stay courageous and stay fearless, but also not fall into the trap that we were talking about earlier of this, black girl magic? I can't cry, I can't feel, I can't be soft.
I talk about it. I write about it. I have an anthology, and my chapter is called Pink Crowns and Golden Pedestals. And so I talk a lot about crown work. So us as black women, especially black women who come from where I come from. So I come from, Newark. I come from, a family of resilient people. But, I was surrounded by drugs and alcohol. And so I wasn't expected to make it, right? And so there's that, but I did. And so now I wear this heavy crown of expectation, right? So there's this heavy crown that I wear, and people have all these expectations from me. I'm also on this pedestal where no one expects me to do anything bad. No one expects me to fail. And so there's like this paradox of expectations where I'm hyper visible, but I'm also invisible. You know, I'm always introduced as Dr. Turner, who grew up in public housing, daughter of addicts, you know, and so people want me to prove something. And so it's a heavy crown to wear, and it's a very petite and small pedestal. If I make one tiny mistake, I'm going to fall off this pedestal. And so how do I stay courageous? I surround myself by supportive people. I surround myself by people who are not afraid to give a hug or to be supportive or to listen to a story. And I tell my story. I make sure that I'm paying it forward. That's how I am able to hold my head up. You know, I always there's a song by it's the theme song from Stand Up. It's called Stand Up. Stand Up, take my people with me. And so I always remember that I'm not only doing this for me, that I'm doing it for my community. But in doing that, I have to remember that if I don't take care of me, if I don't give myself if I don't self-preserve my own self, if I don't practice any self-care, that I can't do anything for my community. So again, to answer your question, I name it. I put a name on all the things that I'm feeling. When I'm tired, I have to name it. I have to say I'm tired. And I have to not be afraid to sit down and take a rest. And I also have to surround myself by people who hold me accountable. To say, hey, you look tired. Hey, you need to sit down. Hey, take a break. Or, hey, you're getting too cocky. Hey, don't forget why you're doing this. You know, and I have to, sometimes I may get a little cocky, you know, but sometimes I have to remember who I am, what I stand for, and why I'm doing this.
Yeah. I think those are really concrete, to quote the name of your book, Concrete Dreams. Those are really concrete suggestions as to how we can stay courageous and stay okay within that. What about as beyond the individual, as communities? I mean, I don't want us to be afraid, but I'm sure you're already seeing the impacts of cuts to SNAP, cuts to Medicaid, and the safety net, which are just getting started with a big, ugly bill, and the dismantling of Consumer Protection Agency, the Board of Education, et cetera, et cetera. So on a community level, on a collective level, what's the response?
Listen, we've been here before. This is the face and the names are different, but we've been here before. We've been in turmoil before. We've had leadership that we've been afraid of before. You know, we've bounced back from worse. And so I say we look at what did we do before when we were nationally, when we didn't have support. It is scary. It gets scary. And one, you know, as a licensed clinical social worker, as a therapist, sometimes I tell my clients to, first of all, disconnect. Start to focus on the things that you can change. Change the things that you can change for now. You know, again, name it. I'm afraid today. Put a name on what you're feeling. What are you afraid of? And now, if you are feeling helpless because you can't touch the people who you think are affecting you, start to touch and reach out to people who you can. Do what you can do. Start to make goals, you know, that you have. Start to make goals for change that you can change. Because when we start to focus so much on the things that we can't do anything about, that's when that anxiety starts to come in. That's when that fear starts to come in. And again, I have 3 daughters. You know, I'm a homeowner. I'm a business owner. I get afraid. I get afraid for my children. I have one daughter still in high school, and she's yet to go to college. She still has to go to college. I'm a single mother. Yes, I get afraid. Are there going to be programs for me? You know, how am I going to do it? And so I'm starting to do what I need to do now. Like I said, I'm looking into local government. That's exactly why I am an elected official, so that I could put forth policies that can maybe sustain us in times of trouble like this. But when we're afraid, I say sometimes we have to disconnect, turn off the news.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you have to not look at social media today. You know, maybe you have to take a drive home where you're going a different route, go the scenic route, do some mindfulness, because we are in a world that is pretty scary. But we've been here before, and we are resilient, and we're going to make it. And I refuse to let what's happening nationally to get me down.
Yeah.
I refuse. If we have our ancestors, look what our ancestors been through.
Absolutely.
And look how they conquered, and look where we are today. So how dare we be afraid? How dare we give up?
Dr. Turner, tell us how to keep track of you, your website, your socials.
Yes, and so you can find us on www.theinnercitycafe.com. We're Inner City Cafe on all social media platforms, and there you can find a link to myself, Dr. Fatimah Turner, to my nonprofit, Crown Work, and if you'd like to support any of our initiatives, you can find any of that at www.theinnercitycafe.com. We're located at 15 South Essex Avenue in the great city of Orange, New Jersey.
All right. Well, it's nice meeting you. Thank you so much for joining. And, well, I know a thing or two about Newark. You're very friendly for a person from Newark. My family's from there, so I say that
really?
advisedly. Yeah, my dad's family's from the Baracas of Newark. Dr. Turner, a pleasure meeting with you. Tavis Smiley's up next. He's got a great show on deck for you as usual. They work hard. They put together amazing guests. You definitely want to stay tuned for that. Like my dad, the late and great Amiri Baraka, used to say, a man is either free or he is not free. There can be no apprenticeship for freedom. Until next time, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Thousands protested in downtown Chicago Saturday against President Trump's threat to deploy federal troops.
Every single immigrant has every single right to have their families stay together.
Trump renamed the Pentagon the Department of War and posted Chicago is about to find out why on social media. Local leaders called the